All right. I'm here to tell you about a counseling service. Not a very good one, but it exists. How did I find out that Center Hope Solutions LLC, and LLC, by the way, shows you that it's a business? LLC. Let's see what LLC stands for according to the internet. LLC. LLC meaning? I guess that'll work. Uh, Limited liability company. One, a U.S. business structure type that offers the personal liability protection of a corporation with the pass through taxation of a sole proprietorship or partnership. Great news, right? Now, there's certain things that, well, are gonna bother me. Like, if you're gonna put an ad up, no biggie. Ixeth 2 typed Eugene Stoner with a question mark. Those of you who don't know who Eugene Stoner is, he's the creator of the Stoner 63 machine gun, the Stoner 63 light machine gun, the Stoner 63 medium machine gun, the Stoner 63 heavy machine gun, the AR-10, the AR-15, and the M16. Eugene Stoner is almost as famous as Mikhail Kalashnikov. Almost. Now, why is it Eugene Stoner is not as famous in the United States, where his gun was created in California at the Armalite Corporation? Why is it that Eugene Stoner is not known as well as Mikhail Kalashnikov, even in this country? Well, because the AK-47 has Kalashnikov's name in it. Many people don't even call it an AK-47. They just call it a Kalashnikov. So there are more Americans who know who Mikhail Kalashnikov is than Eugene Stoner. And yet, we don't use Mikhail Kalashnikov's products here in the United States. We use Eugene Stoner's products. Many countries on this planet have used Eugene Stoner's products. The United States, Japan, Israel. They're not the only ones. They're just the three primary ones that we want to pay attention to. The British even use RM16s. Not often, but they have them. The Portuguese tried to get a contract for over 10,000 of Eugene Stoner's guns. But, of course, the Vietnam War stopped that. It's because the Dutch were actually manufacturing the AR-10. And the AR-10 is basically, well, it's the first one, the big brother of the AR-15. What's the difference? The caliber. See, one of them's in 308 caliber. The bullet's about that long. About that long. Sorry. And a 223 is only that long. A lot less powder. Bit smaller bullet too, but not much. Because see, when the M16 first came out, there was a debate whether we should be doing it in 7.62 or whether we should do it in 5.56. It's now 5.56, but even the M16 didn't start off as 5.56. It started off as 7.62. Lovely, right? Now, hopefully, Ixeth 2 feels validated by their comment. Now, when I say their comment, this is something that in the modern world we really have a major issue with. There are a lot of people who are going to get pissed off if you don't identify them properly. When you talk to people and you're saying they, and they're going, we're talking about a male female situation here. They doesn't really let us know who we're talking about. They is non-descriptive. And a lot of people like that. A lot of people say, hey, we shouldn't use the word black because, well, even though it's descriptive, it's apparently racist. Well, I'm sorry, but if a black man comes through my house and steals my shit, when I call the police, I'm not going to say there was a they at my house who was, boom. Now you can't even turn in your assailant or predator or whatever because of social acceptability. These are descriptives. There are also a lot of people who are offended that nobody says yes, sir, or yes, ma'am anymore. Well, you can go ahead and get offended, but don't get offended at me. There are people who are highly offended by the words sir and ma'am. They're highly offended by the words sir and ma'am, and you're highly offended that people don't say sir and ma'am. There's no way to please you people. And when I say you people, I'm not talking about the LGBT community or the straight community. I'm talking about all of them. And you and me. All of us. We all live on the same planet. We don't live on a planet of one. We don't live on planet black people. We don't live on planet white people. We don't live on planet men. We don't live on planet women. People are all different, and descriptives are important. Now, IXUTH2, that's what this person goes by, and they've been on here before. Matter of fact, the first time Ixith was on here, he was a troll. And then he was not a troll, and he was listening and seemed like a reasonable excuse for a human being. And then he went back to being troll for a bit. Oh no, I said he. Hopefully Ixith 2 doesn't get offended. Now, why am I bringing this up over Ixith 2 typing Eugene Stoner? Well, we'll get to that. We're going to go to Center Hope Solutions LLC. And I'm going to let you all know, first of all, this is something that is actually possibly good for y'all, depending on who you are. It says the first transgender suicide hotline is now up and running, and in the U.S., you can reach Trans Lifeline at 877-565-8860. So, if you're trans, you don't have to deal with the same one that we got to deal with, I guess. I don't know. I did respond to this, however. I wrote, if it's anything like the regular one, a lot of trans folks are going to kill themselves. You know, a lot of people, the difference between them blowing their heads off and being alive tomorrow to face another day comes down to hope. What do you do when they take all your hope away? When they dismiss you, say they can't do anything, they absolutely could. Every one of these people, every single one of them is capable of getting off their ass and doing something. People say, you made this person do this and you made this person do that. Well, I was forced to do things. Forced. Actually forced. Big fucking difference. There's a lot of pretty memes that I get to read. And of course, there's always opposing memes. If it's happening to you, you post up the meme about how horrible it is. And, well, if it happens to somebody else, you post about how they should get over it. Now, with this Center Hope Solutions person, you guys know that I called the suicide hotline this morning. Well, I was going through my Facebook and there was something I wanted to read, and I couldn't read it. So I clicked on it. It looks just like any other post posted by anybody else that I know. But if I click on those posts, because I can't read it all, it posts it up. So then I can read it all, but not if it's an advertisement. And that's the problem with Center Hope Solutions. I wanted to read what it said. Instead, I get the little bottom corner thingy here, you know, where it pops up the chat and you get the electronic response. I fucking hate that bullshit. Talk to me like a fucking human being. So, of course, this Center Hope Solutions, I let them know how unhappy I was with that. See, I clicked on it to read what it said, and here's what it pops up with. It pops up with this little chat. It says, "Hi, Sean Schwartz. Thanks for getting in touch with us on Messenger. Please send any questions you may have." Now, mind you, this is electronic. This isn't an actual person typing this. It's called auto response, and it's bullshit. It says, "Promoting hope and wellness through affordable online mental health services for individual, couples, families, teens, and adults. We offer counseling, coaching, and psychological assessment." Well, that's great. And then, of course, it's his advertisement right underneath that. You still can't read it all. Fucking stupid. So I typed at him, not happy. I typed, "Jesus fucking Christ." All I did was click on a post so I could read it. I don't need your bullshit popping up with electronic response bullshit. Go the fuck away. Some of you might think that was a little bit harsh. I don't think it was a little bit harsh. I think it was a lot harsh. Well, let's look at the stages. There are different stages to trauma response. Now, there's a lot of stuff that, well, I can't control. I can't control Robert Warnick. I don't want him to molest children, but that's not going to stop him. I don't want him to come out into the street and threaten my life over Nicole McIntosh, but he did it anyway. Now, y'all get to see how different I am now than I was before Natalie died. I'm a lot more pissed off and a lot more short-tempered. I'm sick of the bullshit. If I'd have clicked on this a year ago, instead of being pissed off, I probably would have tried talking to the guy. But I am sick of these fucking advertisements. I am sick of these son of a bitches posting shit up, and it's not an actual post. Now, this guy right here, there's a bunch of fucking bullshit that he's typing at me. It's fucking psychobabble bullshit. And of course, there's a lot of it. And then finally, we get to this meme about mental health. It says, "Allowing a student with a hidden disability, ADHD, anxiety, dyslexia, to struggle academically or socially when all that is needed for success are appropriate accommodations and explicit instructions is no different than failing to provide a ramp for a person in a wheelchair." I've been saying this exact thing since before Natalie was killed. Now, is it really that complicated for him to say, all right, well, this is what it says? Is it too complicated for him to resize it so people can actually read the whole goddamn thing? Now, honestly, he might not be able to know how to resize it to do that. I don't know how to resize it to do that. Now, of course, this guy, I did start off cursing at him. And I am definitely not ashamed of myself for doing it. Now, albeit I could have started off nicer, it's kind of like when you're at home and you're waiting on an important call, right? Let's say you got a job interview, or you're waiting for your doctor to call you about the results of whether or not you got cancer. But you got this problem with telemarketers. They're just going to keep on calling you. Now, sure, in this case, telemarketer basically, he's not marketing it on the telephone, he's marketing it on the internet. But that's basically what he is, a telemarketer. He's trying to sell himself. I don't mean like a prostitute. I mean, he's trying to sell his, I want to call it a trade, but it's not even a pseudoscience. It's bullshit. That's what psychology and psychiatry are for the most part. Now, the way that they're supposed to be versus the way that they are in practice are not the same. See, the way that it's supposed to be, yes, psychology and psychiatry can both be considered a science. But that depends on the psychologist or the psychiatrist. See, if they've got opinions, you've got to get past their opinions before you can be heard. And just like the rest of y'all, they've all got pretty memes that are supposed to fucking fix everything. Meanwhile, in their profession, they should know those pretty memes don't fix everything. They are taught that those pretty memes don't fix everything. So, this guy right here wanted to be a douchebag to me, which, well, I cursed at him. He wanted to be condescending. Wanted to tell me that I should seek anger management issues or anger management. Well, you know what? We could work on my anger management as soon as we do something about the abuse. Because, see, my anger stems from long-term abuse. And the longer it takes for me to get an honest day in court, the longer it takes for me to get fucking heard, the more pissed off I am because I'm not fucking heard and I'm not fucking dead. That's why out of all of my friends, I stopped calling most of them my friends. Because they're not. They don't give a fuck about me. They're not going to listen. They want to talk and talk and talk. They're in love with the sound of their own fucking voices. The problem is you guys are talking out your ass in ignorance. I've been a tree cutter. I've had to service the saws. I've serviced expensive Stihl saws and expensive Milwaukee saws and expensive, believe it or not, John Deere actually had some saws. I've also worked on cheap-ass Poulan saws. If somebody wants to come up to me and start talking ignorance at me about something that I know, they're going to get an argument. If you're going to be passing out false information, you could potentially get people hurt or injured, especially in the tree cutting industry. There are places where your ignorance does not belong. Now, my older brother, he had an argument. Holy shit. I clicked over so that I could read something else. I clicked back onto here, and holy fuck. We've got Rich Life. Well, he made another account. Imagine that. And what are we going to do? What do we always do with this fucking cunt rag? Every time that Rich Life makes another profile to harass me, I block it from my page. And usually, before I'm even done with the segment, he's made another one and is commenting again. So let's look at Mr. Gab Penton. Ah, this is another one of those people who is a return douchebag. He wrote 665 with a question. You got a minute, Mr. Gabba Penton? Is that what you're asking? What a fucking moron. Rich Life Shoots Heroin wrote, Eugene Stoner sold all of his inventions for 666 milligrams of Ativan. Well, any of y'all who pay attention to my channel, you know that this is the shit that he pulls every time. Every goddamn time. Ixith2 typed WTF. That means what the fuck. For those of you older people who are always going, what the fuck does that mean? Mr. Gabba Penton wrote that. What's that mean? Rich Life Shoots Heroin wrote, the back of your head is flat. Mr. Gabba Penton put up a little skull thingy. Rich Life Shoots Heroin wrote, the serial number on your computer is 666. See, that's the problem there. I'm trying to get help. This is a serious situation, and I got fucking clowns like this on here being fucking cunt rags. What a goddamn douchebag. Now, I wonder if this fucking stupid son of a bitch from this LLC business, I wonder what he would think about all of this shit. You think maybe he would reassess his ignorance? He might. Right here it says, this message is held for review. It says, Scott Cocksucker is his name, apparently. It says, I banged Irene Schwartz for 2 gabapentin 665 mg. Well, I suppose we should show that so y'all can see it, so that you are aware that I'm telling the truth about it, that it's not a figment of my imagination. It's not some schizophrenic hallucination from some nut job. The dude's actually typing this shit. And he's actually fucking crazy. There's a possibility that all 3 of these belong to Rich Life Shoots Heroin. Now, most of his stuff starts with Rich Life, and then after that, it's usually something fucking stupid. Well, like shoots heroin. Rich Life Shoots Heroin type, bruh, yo, YouTube id is fuck. And then here's from Bitch Life of Simp. Now this right here is going to show you that these are all from the same person. Bitch Life of Simp typed, I banged Irene Schwartz for 2.66 milligrams Haldol. We'll show that one too. These are all Rich Life of Shoots Heroin. All of these. Every one of them. Oh, and apparently his dumbass thinks I'm still in the shed. Someone calling themselves sweet and sassy seems to find this stuff entertaining. Rich Life Shoots Heroin, bitches. Why you live by a loud ass train? But guess what? I got special abilities here. I was able to erase stuff that wasn't extremely important out of my evidence to make room so I could take pictures of stuff that's more important. And this right here is pretty fucking important. Why is that not working? Oh, there it goes. Flip it around. We'll scroll it all the way up to the top. Now I've got the evidence so y'all can see it. Of course, you can all see it on the side there anyway, but I'm about to erase those. So what we're going to do instead, good, it did. Obviously, I took more than 3 pictures. But now that's up here, I can do what I wanted to do from the start. We'll go to Mr. Gabapentin. We will go to hide user on this channel. We'll go to Rich Life of, hide user on this channel. Let's see. Scott Cocksucker, hide user on this channel. Bitch Life of Simp, hide user on this channel. And Caroline Pierce. I don't know who this is, but I've had a bunch of people with Russian names typing this same bullshit. It says VOI period FYI. Well, that one's getting hide user on this channel. Sweet and Sassy says that Rich Life shoots heroin. You're famous. You said computer. So what's Sweet and Sassy here for? You guys having fun with this? Now let's get back to what this video is about. Allowing a student with a hidden disability, like ADHD, anxiety, or dyslexia, to struggle academically or socially when all that is needed for success are appropriate accommodations. See that right there? Appropriate accommodations. Abuse is not an appropriate accommodation. It says to struggle academically or socially when all that is needed for success are appropriate accommodations and explicit instruction. See, that's the thing. If somebody's in a wheelchair, you know, you really shouldn't have to explain that he needs a wheelchair ramp to get in and out of the building. You shouldn't have to explain that. But we live in the United States of America where everybody is so hopped up on pharmaceuticals that their ability to think clearly is, well, obviously non-existent. You have to explain to people when a man in a wheelchair can't enter a building, you have to explain to strangers he can't get into the building because there is no access ramp. When I went to Rory's funeral, there's no access ramp at the church. So, few real men had to carry him into the church. Thank goodness they were there, and thank goodness they helped Jeff into that church. His disability is blatant and obvious for everyone to see. Now, this here wannabe therapist motherfucker, I gotta tell you, he typed a lot of ignorant bullshit, and I let him know that it was ignorant bullshit. And then I explained to him the situation. Of course, he doesn't read any of that. Matter of fact, he grossly misinterpreted almost everything that I typed. So I started typing in caps lock. Now, it's kind of like the people who offered to help. People did offer to help to begin with. They didn't keep their word. And the more people did that, the less time I have to waste on people. Either you're going to help me or you're not. If you're not, don't fucking lie to me. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my resources. Now, of course, he did post it up for me to read it, so I read it. He wanted to type some shit at me about some ignorant bullshit. I typed, try talking to me like a person, and you will find that your assumptions are incorrect. This isn't a trivial situation. Of course, you aren't going to understand that through typing. Now, of course, I'm being nice there. All of the stuff throughout here is nice, except for the very beginning, because I am sick and tired of that fucking bullshit. You know what? If people need help, they need help. You don't have to make clickbait. If you are going to cut out half of it and post it up, what you're really doing is being an asshole to people with OCD who are going to go, man, I got to read that. Click. It doesn't work. Now I'm stuck with this asshole, and all I wanted to do was read the post. It was interesting. It was about disabilities and how disabled people are treated. Of course, this douchebag doesn't know how to take his own medicine and probably should have read that fucking thing before doing the things that he did, because really he's doing the opposite. Lovely, right? Kind of like the situation with Samuel Leon Lawrence IV. He expected me to bow down and make special reparations for his disabilities. Meanwhile, he wasn't willing to make those reparations for mine, now was he? No, because Samuel Leon Lawrence IV, deep down, is just a piece of shit. Now, some of you might say, oh, well, he was just trying to help out those homeless people. You know what? That's great. It really is. But I spent a lot more time than he did helping out the homeless. Do I get treated that way? Do I get treated how Samuel Leon Lawrence gets treated? No. Did Samuel Leon Lawrence IV treat me the way that he was expecting and demanding me to treat him? No. He's an entitled punk ass bitch. And yes, I understand that he's part black. That doesn't mean he's not a self-entitled fucking bitch. I mean, look at Zayd Atkinson, for shit's sake. Another self-entitled bitch. And he's friends with Samuel Leon Lawrence IV. God bless America, right? Meanwhile, we got to deal with racist assholes like Darren O'Connor. He's not going to help out actual homeless people. He only cares about winning. See, it's not about right or wrong for Darren O'Connor. It's about enhancing his prestige. Now, I'm going to post this up on Center Hope Solutions website so they can see it themselves. Sweet and Sassy wrote, I've been here since Rob did a video about you. Sub to your channel. Well, thank you, but I wish you'd speak out. And even though you found some stuff that's rather disgusting, amusing, you haven't been a troll. Now, you kind of trolled Rich Life, but then again, he came here to troll. Now, subscribing to my channel, I don't have a monetized channel. I know a lot of people who have monetized channel try to get as many subscribers as possible, and they say thank you for subscribing. But this is a different channel. I don't make any money off of this channel. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm here for outreach. I'm here for help. I'm here for an education. Not necessarily to get one. I'm also giving one. Now, if you've been through the shit that I've been through, you got the right to scream. Matter of fact, if you have gone through what I've gone through, you have the right, in my personal opinion, to do things I'm not willing to do. My recommendation, if you are treated the way that I am, is not to do what I've done. I've tried to do it the legal way. I've tried calling the people that I'm told to call. It doesn't work. I'm not willing to kill people. But I'm going to tell you something. If you kill your predators, they're never going to do that to you again. And if you spend the rest of your life in prison for killing them, that is an acceptable trade. And I will tell you why. Because if you're going through the things that I'm going through, that means these people aren't just threatening you. They're assaulting you. And they're threatening your loved ones. Now, is that okay? I'm not talking about threatening to tell the truth. I'm talking about threatening to kill them. See, it's nice and pretty for you to say pretty shit when it's not happening to you. There's a guy who's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I met him in real life. That's how we became friends. We were on a bus with a racist asshole who we all collectively kicked off the bus. Now, he was typing about how the blanket that he got now is nicer than the last 6 that were stolen. And one of his friends typed on there, his friend who's never been homeless, got on there and typed a bunch of stuff that was ignorant. Now, he didn't type that ignorance to be an asshole. He typed that ignorance out of straight up ignorance. Why do so many get cold? Why do so many of them get stolen? Why do you carry them around with you? Why don't you carry them around with you? And there's answers to all of those. You know how you're treated when you got a backpack on? Of course, one of the other questions that I had is, why do you need a blanket in Florida, which is where this guy lives? It gets cold at night in Florida. It doesn't say stay nice and sunny 24/7. Same thing with California. You're going to end up with inclement weather, days where it's not sunshiny. And I can tell you that when it rains first thing in the morning and then it's sunshiny, you are glad that the sunshine is there, but it's going to take you a few hours to dry out. And you could die of hypothermia in that time. There are places where it's appropriate to advertise what you're advertising. My Facebook ain't the place for it, especially not with an advertisement that is made and intended to look like anybody else's post. I can tell you that guy certainly ain't going to get my money. Ixth2 type, was that an air gun? The video you uploaded called Up Yours? He also wrote, I've got a few air guns too. Actually, give me a second. It is a made in Taiwan but I'm not for certain because I don't have. It's a full auto BB gun.